So, and I'm glad to follow the DTI's talk about what types of CRS or child car seats will be approved. And just a quick word to the parents out there on what an appropriate CRS is. It's really one that can accommodate the size of the child. So the age, height, and weight on the screen are guidance, but at the end of the day, what you have to really check is if the child fits well in the child car seat. So if there's no space between the harness and the child's shoulders and other indicators. But generally, we have the rear facing for infants, forward facing CRS for toddlers. And if they're able to grow out of that, they can transfer to a booster seat until they're 12 years old. And so the rear facing is generally designed to cushion the infant's head. The forward facing is what I have here for older children. And the booster seat boosts the child's height so that the adult-sized seatbelt fits in more well. And we won't go through this slide as much, but we have to ensure that the child is properly secured in the child car seat according to the IRR. Here are the indicators that the child has been properly secured. And these safety standards have been discussed by Engineer Kim. And there's just another question that could also be pressing. The law recognizes that, when it was enacted, there are already parents who have bought child car seats. So what will happen to those prior acquired CRS? So the law allows the use of these child car seats, provided that the LTO has checked and cleared the CRS. And this clearance process will be ongoing until February 2022. You have 1 year to get your existing child car seats cleared by the LTO. And we just have to stand by for the guidelines from the LTO. And really, if you're buying a second-hand CRS, there are also indicators in the IRR that you are encouraged to check. So if it's been involved in a crash, if the shell is cracked, the harnesses are frayed, worn, or damaged, the straps are twisted, the buckle doesn't engage or disengage smoothly anymore, or there are missing parts, then this child car seat should not be used anymore. And just a quick word, even though the Child Safety Motor Vehicles Act will come to be known as the child car seat law, it's not just mandating the use of a child car seat. There are more prohibited acts. First, we also penalize the failure to properly secure or allowing a child to sit in the front seat of a motor vehicle. May tanong yan, back nung Seatbelts Use Act that was enacted in the 1990s, this prohibition was already in effect. But the difference is, under the Seatbelts Use Act, a child was defined as 6 years old and below. But here under RA 11229, take note, the definition of a child is now 12 years old and below. So with this new law, the prohibitions coverage has been expanded. You are also prohibited from leaving a child unattended in a motor vehicle. And so I don't know whether audience, if you've heard of the horror stories here, abroad, or even here in the Philippines, yung magulang, sinama yung anak ng saglit, nag-mercury lang, nag-grocery, iniwan yung anak sa sasakyan. There are times that the child passenger has suffocated and died from such suffocation. Why? Motor vehicles are prone to overheating, and pair that with the tropical climate here in the Philippines, and you have a deadly combination. So that's already penalized. And the other prohibited acts were discussed by Sir Bob Valera, such as using substandard or expired CRS, manufacturing, distributing, selling, importing these types of child car seats, and also, and relevant to DTI Engineer Kim's discussion, the tampering, altering, forging, or imitating of the PS mark or the ICC. So I hope that was enough to give you a briefer as to the new mandatory and provisions and prohibitions under the new law.